2nd. Here we go. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the July 1st, 2025 regular session of Findlay City Council. We will start this evening's meeting with the roll call.
Mr. Ballman?
Here.
Mr. DeArmond?
Here.
Ms. Frishy?
Here.
Mr. Greeno?
Here.
Mr. Hellman?
Here.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Here.
Mr. Palmer? Mr. Russell? Ms. Warnicki?
Here.
And Mr. Wobser?
Present.
Both Mr. Russell and Mr. Palmer contacted me and told me they were going to be out of town and couldn't attend tonight. I will entertain a motion. Mr. Wobser.
Motion to excuse.
Second, Mr. Who am I thinking here? Bauman? No.
The name's right here.
No, everybody raise their hand. Okay, Mr. DeArmond, Ms. Warnicki. You guys all raised your hands. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of excusing both of them, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. They are excused. We please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
What's that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to accept the public hearing minutes and the city council minutes of June 17th. Mr. DeArmond.
So moved.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting all three, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They are accepted. We have no add-ons, replacements, or removals from tonight's agenda. We have no we do have a proclamation.
He's not
here, so we'll do it.
We'll do that in legislation. I'm sorry that person's not here. We do have a petition.
The status of the Greenbrier Holdings Ltd. and Mauer Rentals LLC annexation for 9.166 acres in Liberty Township. It has been in the city clerk's required 60 days. It ended on June 28th, 2025. And now it needs to be referred to the July 10th City Planning Commission and Planning and Zoning Committee meeting.
Questions or comments? It will be referred as described. We have 3 oral communications this evening. 1 will follow when the legislation is, and 2 will be under new business. We have written communications.
An email from Paul Hadd regarding letter for park project.
Mr. DeArmond.
So Paul Hadd is a young entrepreneur in our community. I've met him. I don't know him, but I wanted to paraphrase one of his points that I thought was really smart. He talks about the park project's a civic project for a new era. In the past, cities have attracted and retained citizens by providing jobs. We're in a new economic reality where the best jobs will be attracted to places with thriving and growing populations. If we want people to stick around and attract new families, we need projects like these that focus on building the best quality of life for our citizenry. I just think that's really well stated. I think the times are changing and we need to change too. So, Paul, I just want to thank you for your letter.
Other questions? Ms. Frishy.
I did have some email communication with Paul, and I like the quote you pulled out from Paul's email, but I think it's also fair to say that the ideas and visions that are being proposed on the downtown park could also be implemented in other areas of the community that would be just as big as an impact.
Mr. Wobser.
But it should be noted that is not what his letter was about.
What was it?
An email from Jeff Fort regarding letter to City Council for proposed park.
Letter to be filed. We have no utility or contractor communications this evening. Reports of municipal officers and departments.
Board of Zoning Appeals minutes for April 10th, 2025, as well as May 8th, 2025.
Questions or comments? Minutes to be filed.
Letter from Chief of Police Matthias regarding Funds from State of Ohio to Findlay Police Department from ORC required training, CPT second quarter reimbursement check.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding FDY Airport Master Plan, project number 35243500.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
A letter from City Engineer Calb regarding Sherry Street Sanitary Sewer, project number 3565200.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
A letter from City Engineer Calb regarding 2025 annual large diameter sewer cleaning, project number 3565080.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding airport windows and doors EECBG program, project number 3523700. I think I said that wrong. Project number 3525370.
Questions or comments? Letter be filed.
Letter from Mayor Mern regarding trap neuter return TNR program.
Questions or comments? Ms. Fishing?
Mayor, we did the trap neuter release program. We did 5,000 the first time, and this is the second round. Is this coming from your personal budget, or where did we already budget for it? Where's it coming from?
Yep, I believe that Kathy is pulling it from Service Safety Director, Professional Services.
Oh, this is the second round, so we're at 10,000 for 2025.
Correct. Yeah, and we've had a lot of response and continue to get requests, so I think it's working really well and want to continue to improve those efforts.
Other questions or comments? Letter be filed. Committee reports.
The Strategic Planning Committee met on June 17th, 2025 to continue community reinvestment discussions. We recommend that the administration move forward with drafting an update to the CRA1, including a sunset provision and drafting a new post-1994 CRA.
Mr. Wilson.
Make a motion to approve the committee report.
Second, Mr. Ballman. Discussion? All those in favor of the committee report say aye. Any opposed, nay. The committee report is adopted. Legislation. We'll start with the resolution. We're going to.
For-
Want the mayor to read this?
It's up to her if we're just doing the
How
header.
about we have
item.
the mayor read this?
Okay.
Resolution number 016-2025, a resolution commending Kenneth Paul for the excellence of his service to the city of Findlay, Ohio. Whereas Kenneth Paul, who served the city of Findlay, Ohio for 32 years as a dedicated, loyal employee, retired effective June 12, 2025. Ken began his career with the city of Findlay in the Public Works Department as a cemetery summer seasonal worker on May 2nd, 1983 until October 19th, 1985, before being hired full-time as a waterline maintenance worker 1 on March 30th, 1992. He then was promoted to Waterline Maintenance Worker 2 on July 31st, 2002, then Waterline Maintenance Worker 3 with License 1 on May 10th, 2012, then to Waterline Maintenance Worker 3 with License 2 on November 10th, 2013, then to Waterline Maintenance Worker 4 with License 2 on February 1st, 2025, then to Waterline Maintenance Foreman 1 with License 2 on January 12th, 2020, and lastly as Waterline Maintenance Foreman 2 with License 2 on January 9th, 2022, a position he held until his retirement. And whereas Ken was recognized by resolution number 002-2012 during the January 17, 2012 City Council meeting for actions he took during the G2 Revolution industrial fire occurring at 200 Stanford Parkway on November 18, 2011, and was also recognized by resolution number 039-2012 during the August 21, 2012 City Council meeting for the actions he took during a severe windstorm occurring on June 29, 2012. And whereas Ken was a United Way contributor, and whereas during his 32 years of service to the city of Findlay, Ohio, Ken has performed as an outstanding public service in a loyal and dedicated manner to the citizens of the city of Findlay, Ohio, through his responsibilities within the city of Findlay Public Works departments. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the city of Findlay, by the Council of the City of Findlay, State of Ohio, Section 1, that said Kenneth Paul be and here is hereby commended for his long and loyal services to his city, and that his council extends his best wishes to him upon his retirement from the city of Findlay, Ohio. And Section 2, this resolution shall take effect and be in force from and after the earliest period provided by law.
I will entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Baumann,
Motion to approve.
second Mr. Greeno, discussion. I real quick, I just want to know if guys like this quit, are we still going to get good water? I mean, these guys are pretty important to us. Others, Rob.
I will say, Kenny Paul's a name that you hear mentioned when you need things done, and he's been a staple in our water department for, as you just heard, a lot of years. He has a tremendous resource. He's an expert. He's provided this city a great service over the years. To answer your question, President Harrington, we've actually been mentoring someone for a couple years now to be able to take his place. So the city's in good hands, but Kenny will be dearly missed with his experience and expertise.
Yes, I would echo the same, and we look forward to celebrating with him. Though he wasn't able to attend this evening, Kenny does a lot of great work for our team, and as Rob mentioned, we've really been working to have the folks that have so many unique skills and have been great public servants to our city for many years. One, it shows how people want to work with the city of Findlay, and we have created a great culture. But two, really utilize those kind of Swiss Army knives to train up other individuals within our team. So he will be dearly missed for sure, but we're really grateful for his years of service to the city of Findlay and his continued leadership as he mentors. I'm sure he will be receiving some phone calls over the next couple of years.
All those in favor of the resolution say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Baumann.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Mr. Hellman.
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
And Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted.
I'm sorry.
Ordinances.
Third reading for ordinance number 2025-68, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Findlay, Ohio to accept permanent ownership of two properties totaling 2 parcels from the Hancock County Board of County Commissioners as acquired under FEMA-DR-4424-OH and FMA fiscal year 2018 to the city of Findlay, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Wobser.
For discussion's sakes, I make a motion to approve.
Second, Mr. DeArmond, discussion. Hearing none. Oh, Mr. Wobser.
Mayor, on these two properties, these are the 410 East Sandusky. That's the old, whatever church it used to be. It used to be several different things in the last 20 years. What value does that have to us in the city side of things?
It doesn't have really significant monetary value. What it really has is being able to kind of just control that area and make sure that it's maintained to a level that we desire with the FEMA grants. Obviously, there are certain restrictions on it being able to be developed. It may provide some general parking benefit long-term in that area, but I really just see it being maintained as green space for the foreseeable future and us being able to make sure that it's maintained.
So it's really not green space though, right? I mean, it's a big parking lot and a building. Am I thinking of the right?
Currently, it's a gravel with some grass coming through. They have tried to plant grass on it. It needs a little more love and attention.
Okay.
It's next to the showing shop and is next to the roadway back to the storage garages.
Other questions? Discussion? Ms. Frishy?
So again, for clarification on this ordinance compared to the other one, this one has the FMA at the end of the parcels, which means they can never be built on or do anything even after we update the flood maps, right? These two parcels.
They have a number of deed restrictions associated with the FEMA grants. So there are some things that can be put on them, parking, some like shelter houses. There's like park amenity type items. Obviously that this doesn't make sense for that type of amenity, but there are some broad parameters. It cannot be developed to a commercial building or anything like that.
So there's, as far as the benefit to the city to take over the maintenance of it, it may be better loved by going to auction and maybe the Fern or one of the other businesses wanting to purchase it for overflow parking or something along those lines instead of us maintaining it. There's not really a need for us anywhere down the road on East Sandusky.
I think that that is a potential future option, but again, I think the desire is that the city would be able to make that determination since it's within the city limits rather than the county commissioners determining that.
But we would have more costs. We would have to do appraisal, take it to auction. We would have more costs, where if the commissioners just did that now, obviously, more than likely somebody in the city limits would want it. And then the same thing with Wilson Street. I was kind of talking with some of the other council members. That parcel is in a residential area next to a residential home on a dead-end area. I mean, the most use would be allow that property owner use it for kickball if they have kids or something. There really isn't anything unless there's a nonprofit that would want to utilize it for a garden or something. Again, we don't really have use other than mowing it.
So as I stated at one of the prior meetings, I have reached out to FEMA and am looking into what could be done to potentially give it to one of the neighboring properties or be able to kind of move in that direction. Obviously, yes, I understand it's kind of an odd spot for our team to be able to maintain, but I would rather the city be able to have that authority and decision making to determine how it's best used, and again, be able to maintain it to our standards.
So you talked about it being auctioned,
No,
but it might not be,
auctioned.
well, to be sold, given, utilized by,
The neighboring property owners.
but like you're saying that that can't be done with the FMA two
Without-
parcels with this one? with
Without
this.
FEMA approval. Now, let's talk about Wilson Street. Now, the East Main Cross Street, it can't be developed. And so it has certain restrictions. It could be overflow parking, it said, but then again, there are still, restrictions on the amount of impervious surface that can be on it. So it's not going to be able to be a big parking lot. When we talk about the Wilson Street property, it's, a small square lot at the back of a residential property. That one makes more sense, in my opinion, for the city to take it, be able to make sure that it's maintained appropriately, and then we can submit paperwork to FEMA to be able, it would still have to be maintained as green space, but to work with the neighboring property owners to give it to them, because it really looks, you look at it, all the other parcels go back slight to the same depth, and then that one looks like it was a kind of cut off of it. And so I think being able to work with that property owner, if they so desire, to give it to them. Otherwise, we can, plant trees on it and make it a wooded lot.
And
Mr. Wobser.
there's no value being transferred here, right? Besides them just giving us the properties, correct?
Correct.
We're not
paying for it.
right.
Just maintenance.
Right. So we're just picking up maintenance, basically.
Correct. Which we already do, maintenance mowing trade-offs with the county at different places. So our team is probably currently maintaining this.
Yeah, I guess my concern is longer term with this. If we don't pick them up, we're going to end up maintaining them anyway, one way or another. But somebody's going to call and complain
That is typically the challenge, yes.
with, yeah.
And again, this gives us the ability to turn around and, okay, if the neighboring property owner doesn't want it, then yeah, we can look at auctioning off, but there's really not a value to that since it can't be developed.
All those in favor of the ordinance say aye. After your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
No.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Nay.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
2 nays. 7 to 2? No, 6 to 2.
Was it 6-2?
Ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance number 2025-69 as amended. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept permanent ownership of 4 properties from the Hancock County Board of County Commissioners as part of continued flood mitigation efforts.
Mr. Baumann.
Move for adoption.
Discussion. Oh,
Second, Mr. DeArmond. Discussion.
Mayor, can you walk through, I'm sorry.
Mr. Wobser.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mayor, could you walk through these properties a little bit, kind of like we did with the last one?
Yes, so there are 2 parcels that are on East Front Street next to Automotive Electric. Currently, they're, again, owned by the county, currently just gravel lots that their Automotive Electric's using for some overflow parking for their business. The other ones are a parcel that is behind is part of the benching property So it's already been benched as part of the project. It has not, so that would be transferred to the city. All the other parcels in the area have already been transferred, so it's just kind of a weird little
Phase 1.
area. Yes, sorry, phase 1 benching. And then I think the final one, is one is along where the old houses used to be on East Main Cross there and are all green space. So the city already owns a number of parcels all along there. It's between Blanchard and McManus, so where those homes were all torn down. So we already own a good number of those parcels, and this is just continuing to kind of clean up those parcels so that the city has contiguous ownership.
Now, is the one on Main Cross, as we were talking, is that the one at the corner of Main Cross and Blanchard?
No,
It is not.
no, this one is farther east. It's again kind of where all if you like drive past and there's the old driveways that are still there, it's one of those parcels.
One of the old driveway
Yeah.
properties, okay.
It's closest to Osborne
Yes.
at the last street coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they
Ms. Frishy.
have you gotten the other parcels straightened out that you said the commissioners had not transferred properly? Do we have all of them now, or is that still limboing?
They're still working through cleaning that up. So Steve Wilson was following up with Phil Johnson. I know that the R&D parcel that they had negotiated in, something wasn't recorded properly, so they had to go through and clean that up. So there will be other parcels still coming, a couple more in this area, and then the R&D parcel, I think, are the main ones. And so I'm working on putting together a full spreadsheet of just tracking all of that, but there still are a number in that area.
Hang on a
615
second.
is Howard.
Mr. Hellman.
Mayor, while you're talking about that, is there a way that those vacated driveways can be removed?
Once I own the property.
Have we removed all the driveways of the ones that we do own?
I think that there's one that we have not because we want to go in and clean it up and repair the sidewalk all at one time.
Excellent, thank you.
Mr. Wobser.
So Mayor, we keep adding on to these, that whole area, essentially, because isn't the Blanchard and East Main Cross property involved in this also?
The one at the corner is one that in the future would most likely transfer, but that is not on
Not
the list
currently.
at this point in
Okay.
time.
So it's really the property back then all the way to, not quite to Osborne, but getting close.
Yeah.
Long term, what do we think about with this?
Yeah, so I'm actually in discussions right now with the Toledo Zoo and Blanchard River Watershed Partnership to look at putting an urban prairie and native garden in that area. We have, in the past talked to the neighborhood. It's not really large enough to do any sort of park amenities. They don't want anything super high traffic. So we're having them put together a proposal of what it would look like, planting additional trees along the area, along the roadway, being able to kind of have native plants planted back through there, and then walking paths. So it would be kind of helping pollinators. We wouldn't have to mow it as frequently. It would add nice wildflowers, bees, monarch butterflies, things like that.
Ms. Frishy.
And would that be adding to our deer population since we have the riparian corridor right there that you're going to butt up to? I mean, there's a lot of deer in the city limits there.
Yes, so obviously anytime you have waterways and creeks, you're going to have deer moving back and forth. So yes, we still will have that. Yes, people will need to continue to go slow and pay attention. But I know that we are also talking about how we continue to maintain, to manage the deer population.
Mr. Wobser.
It is 25 miles an hour down through there, by the way, for a guy who's paid the price. So my concern, I guess, Mayor, and thank you for that explanation with all that. That's a nice update with those properties, that all those patchwork that going down through there. The Front Street properties, those are, I think, ultimately my concern. The other ones I can buy into. We'll add it in there. I think that'll be a nice amenity eventually, one way or another. But the Front Street properties concern me, and I'm just not sure how does that fit into our overall game plan here.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I don't have any specific plans for those properties, but I see Front Street being a real opportunity zone moving forward. And with these properties specifically, obviously there does need to be additional environmental research on the properties. And so we have kind of a couple of options, right? We let it sit with the county commissioners and nothing happens. It just sits there. Option 2 is it sits with the county commissioners and they put it up for a public auction. Somebody buys it and doesn't want to do the necessary cleanup, and so it just sits there. Next is the city takes it. We're able to, because as a governmental entity, we qualify for the state brownfield remediation program. We can do the environmental study, we can do necessary cleanup, and then we can determine what we do with the property. Does it make sense to sell it? Yes, but then we control its destiny in that area. Or does it make sense just to turn it into additional overflow parking with the park amenities on the north side, different things like that. For me, there's not really a downside to the city being able to kind of control the destiny of that, and being able to make sure that however it is used is the highest and best use for the community as a whole. And so that's how I really look at it. And there's no action that is required to be done on the property now. So we do not have a liability, environmental liability with taking over the ownership.
Ms. Frishy.
There's 2 parcels on East Front. They both say 230. One of them had one test bore sample. Is it the one closest to the river, or is it the one closest to Front Street?
I believe it's the one to the west. So the 2 parcels that are next to each other would be closer to Main Street.
So that one's in the benching, or
No, neither of those are in the benching
neither
area.
of them are in the, okay, I thought you had said earlier that one of them was in the benching area.
No.
So, liability, if we take it on, we assume that liability of whatever it's going to be, and can we afford it? And is it something that the city wants to get into? I know you talk about a brownfield grant, but obviously the commissioners can do that same brownfield grant. So why would it not behoove us to have the commissioners do that part of it and make sure we've got everything cleared and we know what we're getting to know what our liability will be?
I think as we have seen, the commissioners don't have a real appetite to be proactive on getting some of these things addressed, or have the funds to do. All these grants are reimbursement grants, so they would need to upfront the money. And as we saw on something as critical as the flood mitigation, I don't believe that they would have an appetite to really do anything, which is why they approached us to transfer these to us.
I think as the park gets developed, this property would be very valuable. I mean, it'd be a huge mistake on our part if we let this go and it goes to a sheriff's sale. I mean, if it goes to sheriff's sale, there will be a lot of real estate owners in downtown that would be very interested in buying this at a sheriff's sale. I mean, look what happened a year ago when that property went to a sheriff's sale. They bought it for $35,000. A few months later, they were offering it back to us for $2 million. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that's the reality of it. And the property will be very valuable, and we should not release control of it. I mean, so let's take it, apply for brownfield grant funding if we need to, and maintain control of it, and we can control its destiny. So I think it's in the city's best interest to maintain control.
Ms. Frishy.
Maintaining control, determining the destiny, but you're turning a blind eye to what it is now. Why would you not? Well, first of all, the mayor said, we've seen the commissioners don't want to do things. Well, maybe we need to partner with the commissioners and figure out how to accomplish this while it's still in their hands. And number 2, I would hate to say that anybody in our community that's buying property at sheriff's sale or otherwise is going to make it a blighted property. We have a candidate that's going to be getting on council in that area. Heck, he might even want to buy it for one of his properties for additional parking. The businesses down there are already using it. And maybe it never becomes anything more than that, and they use it as parking, and they don't have to do anything like the mayor brought up. But we, as the city, need to know what we're getting into. And environmental, Dan. That's what your business was. So why would you want to turn a blind eye to it just to control the destiny?
Not turning a blind eye.
Well, that's what you just said.
I never said that. That's a ridiculous
Well, then
statement.
answer my question.
We would be applying if we feel there's first of all, they would do a phase one assessment of it, which is just paper research of what the properties did.
They would
And
do
if
a
it's
test
something
bore.
is found, that they will do a phase two, and we would control that process. There's no big, I mean, it's been contaminated for 50 years. Nothing is going to change in the next 2 years. So.
All right, let's move on. Last time, Ms.
no.
Frishy, last time.
So we already have, they do more than paperwork. We already have one test bore. That's what I was clarifying through the mayor, which parcel that is. And so there would be more sampling. And it makes no sense to put the city's liability out there when we can still accomplish the same thing and not expose our liability.
What if they put it up for a sheriff's sale immediately? They say we don't want anything to do with it. They put it up for sale, and then you lose control of it. That could very easily happen.
It's not in your downtown park. It's in a business
know.
district.
It's adjacent to it. Call the vote.
All those in favor of the ordinance say aye. If your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Ms. Frishy,
Nay.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Nay.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
and Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance number 2025-71. An ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to advertise for bids where required and enter into contracts for construction of various projects in accordance with the 2025 department equipment list, appropriating and transferring funds for said capital expenditures, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Wobser,
Make a motion to approve.
second Ms. Warnicki, discussion. All those in favor of the ordinance say aye. If your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
The ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance number 2025-74, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to enroll the city of Findlay in the Bureau of Workers' Compensation Group retrospective rating plan and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Greeno,
Move for adoption of 2025-074.
second Mr. Hellman, discussion. All those in favor of the ordinance say aye. If your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Second reading for ordinance number 2025-76, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to enter into a contract with Strand and Associates Incorporated to provide design and engineering services of the downtown recreation area, project number 319-13700, appropriating funds.
Ms. Hades Sadler would like to speak to this ordinance.
Council members, regarding this property, I wanted to, I'm sure you are aware that there is a case open, case number 2025 CV 00246, Findlay Citizens for a Safe City et al. Versus the City of Findlay. And I wanted to read a few parts of this case. It is a verified complaint for temporary restraining order, preliminary injunction, and declaratory relief. Plaintiffs brings this action to preserve the constitutionally protected right of an initiative and to prevent defendants for taking irreversible actions, including spending public funds, entering contracts, passing ordinances, or transferring property before electors have an opportunity to vote on a properly filed initiative petition concerning the downtown North River Development Project. Section 9 of this case says the actions of the city further burden plaintiffs' right to vote on a local legislative matter as guaranteed by Article 1, Section 2, and Article 2, Section 1 of the Ohio Constitution. Section 10 of that case says, case law supports plaintiffs' claims in City of Cuyahoga Falls versus Buckeye Hope found The U.S. Supreme Court acknowledged that while cities have discretion in development decisions, they cannot act in ways that obstruct a pending public vote. In Taxes United for Assessment Cuts versus Austin, 1993, the Sixth Circuit held that interference with the initiative process may amount to a First Amendment violation. Additionally, Ohio courts have recognized that the right of an initiative is a fundamental right protected by the Ohio Constitution. The city has signaled an intent to move forward with the design, development, and property transfers despite public controversy over environmental cleanup and public spending. On June 7, 2025, plaintiffs submitted a municipal initiative petition to place an ordinance before the voters in the November 2025 election, which would prohibit development in the area without prior approval. Wherefore, plaintiff respectfully requests a temporary restraining order and restraining defendants from taking any action related to the downtown North River development project, a preliminary and permanent injunction enjoining the same until the initiative is decided by the voters. We ask that you cease and desist all legislation that would spend money on the design. And I would like to remind you that Auditor Stashak suggested that council raise a vote. It would still be prudent to do so.
Ms. Fishy.
I have two questions. So you guys filed this lawsuit. Do we have a court date? Anybody?
No,
So
not as of yet.
if we don't have a court date, law director, before the third reading, what does that mean for council?
I don't think you're going to have a court date for quite some time.
Hearing, I guess, maybe I'm using the wrong word, I don't know.
There's nothing set right now. Judge Starn issued an order that the plaintiffs have 21 days from, I believe, June 18th in which to correct some procedural matters in their filing. And if they do not, he's going to dismiss it at that time. That's what currently is in the courthouse.
And then my other question is, I'm just nosy and curious, how is your petition initiative going? What kind of response are you getting? How many signatures do you have?
I haven't touched base with everybody circulating a petition, but we do have several businesses in the community that are circulating petitions for us. I've had a lot of conversations personally with people that are signing the petitions that have all the same environmental concerns and spending concerns as many of us do, and that was amended. The first filing has been amended with Judge Starnes.
But you don't have a hearing date that maybe we don't know about?
I haven't looked lately to see the update. Actually, I was on there today. I didn't see any updates, but somebody over here
So I guess
mentioned
just my
something.
question again, Rob, if they don't have a hearing to determine whatever they're determining, what does that mean for council for next council meeting?
Well, their filing can't interfere with called the contract clause.
They can or
It
cannot?
cannot. The city can choose, council can choose to continue to move forward, as I had put in that legal opinion. Nothing that they filed, I believe, is going to stop council from proceeding. It would just be council's decision to make, do we take that chance or do we not? That's what it comes down to. I mean, if they get their signatures, then it has to go to a vote. And after it goes to a vote, if it's successful, I think, at least my opinion is, I think you're going to hear some challenges to the ordinance itself that they've proposed. There's a long way to go here before there is a final answer.
Ms. Fishy.
I think you mixed my question. I understand what your legal opinion was before, but then since then we've had this lawsuit, whatever, filed that you said has 21 days to be amended. If that doesn't happen, if the judge doesn't weigh in on it, on their motion, their request, I don't speak legal words. What does that mean for us on third reading if that hasn't been determined? Because what if we move forward and then the judge agrees with that and we've done something? I guess is what I'm trying to figure out.
It's a very interesting topic, and what I have seen in case law is that if that decision by the judge came after this council acts and this mayor enters into a contract, it's too late for them. You cannot interfere with contracts that are lawfully made.
Even when we have knowledge.
It's just a pending case like any other.
Okay.
So have you entered in contract then? This is the ordinance that you're entering into a contract, which is the one that we're asking you to not do through our initiative petition.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sutter.
Correct. That's what we're on third reading.
Yes,
Next
right.
council meeting.
Now we're on second reading. Third reading will be at the next council meeting. Okay, next.
Second reading for ordinance number 2025-77, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to enter into contract with Rosales Partners to provide design and engineering services of the downtown recreation pedestrian bridge, project number 319-13700, appropriating funds. First reading for ordinance number 2025-79, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance number 2025-80, an ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance number 2025-81, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to waive formal advertising and bidding requirements and enter into contracts with Helms & Sons Excavating Incorporated for the replacement of sanitary sewer on Sherry Street, project number 35652600, appropriating funds thereto, and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance number 2025-82, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance 2025-83, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to advertise for bids where required and enter into contracts for replacement windows and doors at the city of Findlay, Ohio Airport Terminal, utilizing awarded Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Funds, project number 35253700, through the United States Department of Energy, appropriating and transferring funds thereto, and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance number 2025-84, an ordinance vacating a certain portion of a certain alley hereinafter referred to as 118 West Front Street Vacation in the city of Findlay, Ohio.
Concludes our regular business. Now we will start with old business. Ms. Frischie.
Can we go back to ordinance 79? That was moving grant dollars from the Attorney General to the PD for training. So am I asking for reconsideration? Is that what the word is?
Is that
Yeah,
enough?
well, I don't know if I can make a motion or ask for.
Yep.
Okay, a motion for reconsideration.
Second, Mr. Wobser. All those in favor of the reconsideration, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, now it's being reconsidered. Ms. Frischie.
I make a motion to suspend the rules and give ordinance 2025-79 its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. DeArmond. All those in favor of suspension of the rules, say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Really?
What was that?
What did you need from us, Council President?
Need you to answer yay or nay on the suspension. Nothing else.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye. I don't know where you are in the middle of all this. There's too much laughing going on over
We're
here.
suspending rules for.
Okay,
Go ahead.
let me back up in case somebody's confused. She's reconsidered the ordinance. That's been done. Okay, now we're suspending the rules for this ordinance. It's a yay or nay vote. There's no discussion. You're up,
Nay.
there, Mr. Hellman.
Nay.
That's fine. I'm going to tell you right now,
I don't care what you
there's no, we will not suspend the rules because it has to be 8 members to suspend the rules. So if there's a nay, we're done. Well, we
Go
can
to
take
absent.
everybody else's, but
Well, then we're done.
recall the vote. We still have to vote. The vote
Oh.
is up. Go ahead. Yeah,
Dennis
we're
wants-
recording the
Dennis-
votes now.
Dennis wants to reconsider, by the way.
It's just transferring money.
reconsider his reconsider.
Aye.
Okay.
Is that allowed?
Yeah. that's-
Transfer the money.
I don't-
I think he was feeling pressure there. Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Now it's
We're
eight.
unanimous.
Okay.
Eight is
Sup-
great.
That's what they call supermajority, right? Unanimous is 6 votes. Supermajority requires 8 votes. We've done that.
Got it.
Okay, so the rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this its
Second and
second
third.
and third reading.
Ordinance 2025-79, ordinance 2025-79.
Mr. Wobser.
Motion to approve.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion. I'm checking Mr. Hellman out here.
No discussion here.
This is
All
what
those
I
in-
would expect in
All
January,
those in favor
by
of
the
the
way.
ordinance say aye. Your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Mr. Hellman.
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted. Now we're going back to old business. Let's go. Mr. Hellman here.
I've got a question regarding the letter that Mr. Fort wrote. Can we read that into the record, since we have had a lot of discussion about this? I think the letter is well-written and worth our consideration.
It's council meeting. If you want to make a motion to do
I'll
that.
make the motion that we read.
Second,
Mr.
Ms.
Fort's letter.
Warnicki. All those in favor of having that letter read into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? We're going to read that.
Who does the reading, Denise? Or me?
No, you
Oh.
made the motion, you read
I
it.
made the motion. I can read. I just didn't know if we wanted Denise to read it.
do want Denise to read.
Poor Denise.
I would like to add some comments to the debate regarding the proposed city park along the Blanchard River. Let me preface this by saying that I have over 40 years' experience practicing environmental law, often working closely with the best environmental engineers and consultants, many times in negotiations with regulatory authorities. I was a member of the City of Toledo's first brownfield team, which identified and prioritized sites such as this. With an experienced remedial project manager, I have reviewed some of the data and recommendations for the site. First, a residential remedial standard is not suitable for a park. As recommended by the city's consultant, the correct standard is commercial land use with high-frequency child exposure. Only after rigorous study and experience, US EPA and OEPA have adopted these risk-based remedial standards with differing future land uses and the corresponding potential exposure in mind. The selection of the appropriate standard and compliance with it are best left for qualified and experienced engineers. In the instant case, the city's consultant is a certified professional authorized by OEPA to recommend appropriate remedies and to certify their completion under the Ohio Voluntary Action Program, for which I helped draft the implementing regulations. I would support what is being proposed in this case if I were the city's attorney, as I have done many times for my clients, including developers, corporations, large and small, zoos, museums, buyers, sellers, and for all of them, their banks, who are most risk averse. Second, in areas that exceed the standard, in many cases, the remediation needs only to go down 2 to 4 feet to achieve it. The risk of exposure is built in. Successful achievement of the standard is supported by required sampling and monitoring. All this is common practice by US EPA and OEPA at remediation sites, for example, when there is the possibility of exposure to lead. Beyond that, typically the remediation is future-proofed with a deed restriction, such as a land use restriction filed by the county recorder's office to ensure that any proposed activity is approved in advance, monitored, and completed in a manner that won't create an exposure exceeding the standard. In summary, as a result of the Ohio Voluntary Action Program created in September 1994, Policies and procedures have been in place for over 30 years. They ensure that property is recycled safely. The potential problems with the site and the approaches to them are commonplace in areas much worse than this. Thus, in my opinion, the city's approach and its consultants' recommendations are appropriate. Sincerely, Fort Law Firm, LLC, Jeffrey E. Fort.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frishy?
Love to talk about this letter. So I'm not quite sure, other than he's trying to say that CEC is a professional, which nobody disagrees with, but I think he has some of his facts wrong, that we, the city, do not have a consultant contracted. We don't have a fiduciary. That would be the county commissioners. And the park is the park. The property around it is being earmarked for residential because we have a TIF proposed for that area to encourage development. We also know that the property, the downtown park property, the 19 acres, there was found hexavalent chromium on that area that they originally did a commercial brownfield cleanup on, which says 2 feet. And we'll remember, I'll remind them, we'll remind Fort, we went 2 feet, it was hot. We went another 2 feet, it was hot. We went to bedrock, and it was hot. And we had liquid, I think 1,700 tons, or gallons, I'm sorry, of green liquid coming out of the ground that we extracted. So this area of the 19 acres is a hot, contaminated area. And to follow a brownfield VAP grant, that's completely legal. But we, as the city of Findlay, have the opportunity to do better. And if we're gonna spend $40 million on a park, what's the problem with spending $1.8 million to make sure we do the environmental cleanup properly the first time?
I'm sorry. Okay. All right, Mayor.
So just a couple of things. First of all, CEC, Mr. Kuhnfair, is the one that did the phase 2 assessment for us, and so he is intimately familiar with the data, which is why he also provided a letter in the last council packet explaining why the high child exposure was the appropriate level. Next, you are correct that on the Rainick property, there was different contaminants outside of the lead, which is found throughout the remainder of the site. Again, that has already been addressed via the prior brownfield, and any additional contaminants of that level will be addressed as part of the remediation. So I appreciate your points, but again, they're also not accurate when we are talking about the overall footprint of this. The level that it will be cleaned up to is the high child exposure, which has appropriate standards for the exposures, for a splash pad, for all these different things, and it will be cleaned up to a safe standard. So please stop pretending like none of us, the rest of us, take the safety seriously, because that is inaccurate.
Okay, Mr. DeArmond.
Just another clarification, that we do have a fiduciary, and it's CEC, and it rolls down through the contracts, you know, so to say that we don't have a fiduciary, that's just not correct. And I just want to say thank you to Jeff. I mean, this letter, I think it's just, what we're hearing is all of the environmental experts we're hearing the consistent message from everybody that understands the project and understands the regulation. We're hearing a consistent message that the commercial standard with the high frequency child exposure is the correct one to use, and that's consistent across all the environmental experts. So I just want to say thank you to Jeff Fort for his letter.
Ms. Frishy.
So I'm going to remind the community and council that we did not contract Jeff Fort's attorney experience. This letter is nothing more than a citizen giving their opinion.
That's right.
Second of all, when the mayor talks about Mike Kuhnfair, when I emailed him, he acknowledged that he did not know that the area around the park is being looked at, designed since 2012 as residential. So on top of that, when you want to say it's safe based on the 2-foot depth cleaning, that if you guys want to play in the splash pad for 30 minutes once a week, you're good to go. We're not going to let you get cancer. But if you live around it,
That's stupid.
If you live
That's
around,
ridiculous.
well, no. If you,
No.
okay, so point of order, because I have the floor.
Who are you speaking to?
So-
Are you speaking to council? Or are you speaking?
Everybody is talking over me when I
Okay.
had the floor, right?
Nobody's
So-
speaking over you. Go ahead.
Not you. But if people live in that immediate area, you know darn well those kids are going to be at that park every day. You know the homeless are going to be at that park every day. You know people are going to be using that park in that immediate vicinity as an attraction for their apartment or their housing. So you can wordsmith or say that I'm saying something wrong, Mayor, but he acknowledged he did not know about the catalytic plan, and I have never said that Mike Coonfair did anything wrong with the bid that he put out for the county commissioners. He went off what was asked of him, and that is where it went. And we have proven that we have not followed the processes, even when we took down the Rainick building, that we did not do it safely. So we haven't proved anything that we are responsible.
Mr. DeArmond. Let's be
fact
nice.
is-
Let's be nice.
I know. The
Okay.
fact that I'm trying, John. I'm going to try. The fact that the area around it is residential is irrelevant. We're remediating the park. The people that own those properties around the park will have to
Live with it.
remediate their own properties. Our project is the park. Those properties. Everything around it, that's their property, and they need to remediate it. We don't remediate the whole city because we want to put a park downtown. So the fact that we don't control what's going to go around it, and it's irrelevant. I'm trying to be nice.
Mayor.
Okay.
I
So
guess-
the next thing, one more point. The
All right,
next
go
thing is, Holly, you're making this point about, you're in the splash pad. Okay. Now,
She brought it up, not me. The mayor brought that up.
okay.
Well,
Okay.
thank you for
So
covering
if you have lead contaminated soil, there's a 2-foot clean barrier above it. And the way people would get contaminated, you start taking your shovels and digging down 2 feet and start eating the dirt. That's the risk. If you're going to go down and dig 2 feet and start eating the dirt, there is a risk of contamination. And that's how ridiculous this is.
No.
Okay, Mayor's next.
I think that the key, you are correct that he responded with saying that he was not aware of the catalytic plan. Again, that is a urban design exercise and not a specific plan. But he then responded with, I would not change my recommendation based off of that information. So if you're going to say, quote him on one thing, make sure you have the full story. Next, on the TIF district, I would just point out that it is structured as a commercial TIF, not a residential TIF district. So again, this idea that I have a grand plan of working to develop and low income housing, first of all, wrong. And second of all, still wrong. So yes, that is a residential area. That should be a residential area. And we all take very seriously the safety of all of our residents, whether they've been in their home for 100 years or they build tomorrow. But again, the standard to which we are cleaning up this area is consistent and safe for both that property and the surrounding properties. And so I think it's important to note that he said he would not change his recommendation based off of that information. And when remediation like this is done, they go in, they clean it out, they're taking it out, again, cutting way deeper based off of the benching project, removing additional soil. And then what they do is once they have gotten to the grade that they want, plus that 2 feet, they put orange mesh underneath it to clearly demarc where the level is. So it is not like an accidental thing. And again, that is based off of making sure that there is no seepage, there's no transference, anything like that. So this is the appropriate standard for this area.
Mr. Stashak, our auditor.
Hey, I appreciate the passion everybody has here, and I'm looking forward to taking pictures of the orange mesh. That's a good thing they're doing. But yes, I am. No, I'm serious. It's for history. I've made the point that we'll never test this again. It's very unlikely. There's no requirement to test it in the future. And what people don't think about, and what concerns me about your comment, Mr. DeArmond, and it's not personal, it really concerns me, is people who live around green spaces use the green spaces, and they use it more than anybody else. because they're adjacent to it. And 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now, when there's an apple tree growing or a mulberry tree growing, because they're in right now. People pick mulberries and make pie. You know, people pick the food. They use plants that are grown in green spaces to eliminate the toxic waste, as I understand it. It draws it up, they harvest the plants, take it out, dispose it properly. You know, and will the orange mesh keep the apple trees from pulling up the toxic waste? I don't know, but if I had a consultant, I'd ask him. So it's really a unique thing that we're doing. But my point was at the last meeting, and I'll reiterate at this meeting, is that if Mr. Kuhnfair is right, and it's $850,000 to go to a 2-foot level, and likely double to go to the next level, that's a small price to pay in light of the tons of things we've spent less on. And it's a good thought to have, and I hope you consider it as we move forward.
Okay, everybody's speaking about this a lot. Let's go, Mr. DeArmond, one more time.
Really? Oh,
There will be restrictions on the property. So you're not going to be able to dig in there. If there's a utility contractor that needs to do work in there, he'll have to get very special permits. And when they
Why? It's
breach that orange mesh, I mean, there will be special permits for that. We're not going to be growing apple trees. It'll be very restricted what you can do in that park area. It's not going to be any food grown in that area. I mean, it will be restricted and controlled.
Ms. Frishy.
So I think it also needs to be said that Mr. Kuhnfair said in his letter that there is nothing stopping the city from being more restrictive and going above and beyond the VAP and the EPA requirement for the brownfield. And you just said the property is going to be clean and safe, but now you're saying a contractor has to have special permits, and we're not going to eat the apples and all of these things. Well, I'm just saying, Mr. Kuhnfair did his job of what was asked of him. He did say we could go above and beyond. It would be smart when we want to spend $40 million for a park to work with the county commissioners to get this figured out and get it done. We know, Mayor, right, when we took the Rainick property, you knew that was a contaminated site that had hexylvant chromium, right? And when it had that on there, we knew how serious that was. But yet we didn't clean it the right way. No, we didn't.
Okay.
It is.
All right, so
It is. No, because I have the document.
I'm not going to call on anybody else again
Okay.
for 5 minutes. If
Hey.
it's going to continue like this, I'm not going to do it. Now, are you going to be respectful? No, we have other business. I'm sorry. Okay. Any other old business? I didn't see anybody's hand go up. I saw a lot of this.
Well,
Do you have new old business?
I do.
Okay, Ms. Frishy.
I just wanted to follow up with Rob and Rob from several council meetings back. I expressed and shared that we had an expired contract with ODOT. I've asked for documents to show our load deliveries and our load pickups and have not gotten that, wondering where that information is at.
So, if I may.
Yep.
The individual that has the detailed records actually has been on vacation, so ticket loads and things like that, I don't have that. And not knowing what specific questions you're trying to answer or where you're going with this, I'm not going to have people take away from their jobs to get this information. Therefore, when the person's back from vacation, we'll address this. But if you give me specifics on what you're trying to accomplish with this, it'll actually drive me to get you the information that might be relevant.
Ms. Frishy.
I didn't know I had to drive you to provide me information, but I'm pretty sure I sent you an email saying me, Councilwoman Frishy, needs to know how much salt was delivered to the ODOT facility, the receipts for that, every time our city drivers picked up a load of salt, so we know how much is left, and then we needed to calculate for all those times, obviously, with doing the mowing for ODOT. So for you to need me to drive you, that's concerning as our safety service director, but I would appreciate it if
So
you got
again,
that.
you just have to put your digs in.
No,
I don't
he
know
dug
why.
first. Don't tell me what to
Yeah.
do.
No, I'm telling you to quit the digs.
No, you're ridiculous. Point of order, move
All right.
on.
Quiet.
Maybe.
No, you will be quiet. You will be quiet. Okay.
Neither do you. No, you don't. Let's move on.
Your last couple meetings, I'm keeping you updated on a monthly basis. I haven't closed the books yet from my office's perspective, but we got the data from our income tax administrator. And I had mentioned 2 months ago, it looked like we were about 800,000 off on the income tax projection. That dropped a little bit more. It's about doubled now. We're just under 1.4 million off, statistically speaking, from my projection through the end of the year. So, in looking at those numbers, there's not been any positive move forward on the income tax. My biggest concern looking forward, and for your benefit, August should be a pretty good month with the quarterlies, but we'll take a look at if that has any impact on that 1.4 million down. The biggest concern I have is, as I mentioned to you earlier, we've never had a basis for a $6 billion business tax projection. That was what came out of the income tax department. Without having some of the insight, I made the decision to go ahead and project that $6 million. Precedent says, and what I'm looking at now and where we're at now, and the most recent information out of the income tax office says it's going to be under 4. So we're looking at a pretty significant difference between the projections that I worked with the administration to get this year and where we're headed. So I hope they recover, but that's where we're at right now.
Other old business. New business. I have one. I'd like to read one of the rules of council. Are you listening this time? Courtesy. In the discussion, comments, or debate of any matter or issue, all speakers shall be courteous in their language and deportment, and shall not discuss or comment on personalities or indulge in derogatory remarks or make insinuations about any other elected official or any member of the staff or the public. Does everybody understand that? Thank you. Other new business. Mayor.
I would just remind folks, the holiday is coming up. It will be a wonderful 4th of July. It looks like the weather is going to cooperate. But just a couple of reminders to obviously be safe. Fireworks are legal in the state of Ohio, but you need to be aware and use wisdom when you are using large explosive devices, please. Additionally, the fireworks are on Thursday night. The parade is on Friday at 11 a.m., as well as the ice cream social. There is a full calendar of community events going on. I know the Fairgrounds is hosting a lot of events, so make sure to visit Findlay.com to see everything that is going on. But I hope everyone has a safe and happy Independence Day.
If I may, just wanted to, as you're all aware, 2 weeks ago we had some weather come through our community, and just want to shout out to the police department, fire department, public works. They did a tremendous job working to get things where they needed to be with tree limb pickups and so forth. So it was all hands on deck, and we worked well into the night, into Thursday morning, and then Thursday morning on Juneteenth, we continued to get things resolved. So shout out to everyone that was involved.
If it pleases you, Mr. President, I got 2 quick items. One, I distributed it's typically called a PAFR. It's our popular annual financial report. The act for our annual financial report has been submitted to the state and has not been approved, so this would be considered an unaudited document, although we consider it 100% accurate. This is the second year we've done this now. It got really warm reception. We actually received an award for the PAFR last year, which I was real pleased to get. So we've got that out there, and it should be publicly available on the website in the next day or so. So I'll make sure that that's distributed out there. And the second thing, okay, I have, and I'm very excited about this, as part of our benefit program, Ben Otley, the man who came and visited you about our health insurance, they are just a phenomenal representative, and I know Mr. Wopser's gotten to know him a little bit better than most of you, but he had introduced me to a vendor called FedLogic. FedLogic is a vendor that helps navigate federal and state benefits. They connect employees with expert advocates to explore all federal and state healthcare programs offering alternative options, comprehensive coverage, lower costs in areas Medicare, healthcare.gov, critical illness, survivors benefits, COBRA, retirement, Social Security. There's penalties that people have to pay or used to be on their Social Security if they became public officials and took PERS. Up to 60% of their Social Security would go away. So to navigate those things, dialysis, veterans benefits, premature babies, tribal benefits, ALS, Medicaid, disability, catastrophic claims. What's really neat about this is all of you are eligible to use this too. There's no charge to you. You call. All you need is the city code in the upper right-hand corner and the 800 number at the bottom. Now here's the kicker. It's for you and your family members, and it's eligible to you to assist you to navigate these programs. It's done by experts who have a minimum amount of time they had to work for the state or federal government, so they have an intimate understanding of them, and it's accessible to you and all of our employees and their families for up to 2 years after leaving employment with the city. I'm thrilled to death with this program, and it's something that we should see some good return from, and we've had a lot of employees request the information, so we're excited about how it's being used.
Okay. We have 2 speakers this evening. Our first speaker, I don't know what I do with this. Hang on. Back to my notes here. Okay, our first speaker is Tom Adams, right? Tom? Thomas, but Tom. Tom would like to speak about truck traffic on Osborne and McManus Avenue.
Good evening. My name's Tom Adams, and I live off of East Sandusky near where Osborne and East Sandusky meet. Due to the construction on Bright, that's further down Sandusky, right there at Bright Road, there's been an uptick of truck traffic, and I've noticed it over the last year of semi-trucks driving down McManus and Osborne Avenue. This disturbs me for 2 reasons. One, as a father, because I take my children to the park there, to the pool, and some of these trucks are going what I can only assume is above the posted speed limit, as well as they're ignoring the 4-way stop right there at the bridge at Main Cross and Osborne. The other is, as a truck driver, I have been a CDL holder for well over a decade. Now, I brought in my personal Garmin truck GPS that even with the signs that are posted there at the entrance at Osborne and at McManus saying no trucks, my GPS shows that it's still a truck route, and I've reached out to friends at Werner, Swift, JB Hunt, and several other companies, and all their systems all show that is a truck route. The only alternative to this is them driving all the way up to Main Street. I have to ask this question: why isn't Bright Road, a 4-lane, very beautiful road, open to trucks? That I feel that it should be, because it's a direct shot straight up to industrial, straight up to 99 and everything. So, and that's my question is, can we do something about not only the truck traffic there, but can we figure out an alternative route that doesn't have them having to go all the way down to Main Street, or even just open up Bright Road back to trucks?
Questions for Tom? Ms. Frishy?
When you say your guys' software for trucking, because we addressed this with Osborne just in the last year, we were noticing all those trucks on Osborne cutting through, and we updated something. But are your guys' systems different than what we?
This is a Garmin Diesel 500. Commercially, it's available at any truck stop, and Garmin, Rand McNally, OmniTrax, Keep Trucking, and all of the other truck safe GPSs all get updated if, like, say you shut down a road for construction, and that the GPS is automatically updated, hey, this is shut down for construction. Or if it's shut down permanently as a no truck route, then it automatically updates. They usually roll out an update every month, and I went through and updated last night, and I was still able to see that it is a truck safe route.
Yeah, Jeremy might be able to.
Yeah, we used to be able to change routes like on GPS because we've had that problem before. Back in like 18 and 19, we used to be able to. All we can do is give recommendations now. They don't let us change anything. I called the county, see if they had any software that would allow us. I mean, because we have a couple where there's like they go to a dead end road because that's where the address is, and we used to change those, but now we can't change those. And I mean, if you know information where we can submit that stuff, because all we can do is, hey, like report a problem type thing.
So if you reach out to Rand McNally, the actual map makers, the really good guys that have been making them for the longest time now, they make a huge book that is a truck GPS book that basically it's a paper map and it has all the truck routes there. If you reach out to them and say, hey, this road is shut down, they'll update it in their system, which will automatically at the next rollout for the updates, it'll update Omnitrax. It should update Omnitrax and Garmin and everybody else, because everybody follows Rand McNally. And if Garmin gets an alert saying, hey, we got this notice that this road is now a no truck route, or this road is shut down, everybody talks to everybody in that community, because it's one of those things that you don't want a truck going down a road that you see there's that video on YouTube of that 12-foot bridge that literally eats trucks. I mean, there's a webcam for it now. All those guys talk to everybody, but some truck drivers, and I will say that the worst culprits are Amazon trucks. I was driving to work at around 5:45. This was about 2 weeks ago, and he actually went around me as I'm on McManus.
Wow.
So I'm sorry. And I was going 25, but that's rather unsafe, especially for a truck driver from a truck driver. So.
Ms. Frishy.
So his direct question with Bright Road, obviously, I'm assuming it's because it's residential there, but we've kind of taken that away and made 236. Isn't that a truck route? So should we be considering making Bright Road? And I'm assuming you're talking from Tiffin Avenue heading
that section
south.
of Bright Road in between Tiffin Avenue and Sandusky. It's much more. It's even more accommodating than Main Street.
But they can't go on Sandusky. I mean, it's to get to the interstate would be the only thing. So is that something we should be?
The limiting factor that I could see within that is the bridge load. How much can that bridge hold? If it's not designed for that much truck traffic going over top of it, but that's a county maintained bridge. That'd be a question we would have to ask by that.
Mayor.
It's something that we definitely are paying attention to. Obviously, with the construction right now, we're seeing a lot of people that choose their own detours, despite our best efforts. But some of the goals that we've been working on is really building out 236 to 212. Obviously, in the next couple of years, we're hoping to reconfigure that to really help kind of create a truck traffic detour around the city as much as possible. But I appreciate the information about Rand McNally, because we've been frustrated by, we pretty much go to a website that's like Waze and say, here, please keep people out of here, but it doesn't help much. So we'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, and the other thing that I can suggest is that the no truck sign that is currently up on Tiffin is all the way up at the light pole. No truck drivers looking up there. If like where it is on Osborne, it's right there. So I've seen some trucks start to turn, then they stop, and then they end up making the turn anyway, because almost every truck driver, except for the old school guys, are taught to ignore the signs and follow your line, and that your line being the line of your GPS.
Thank you.
Mr. Wobser.
Just real quick, Jeremy, we had this discussion about 568 and the bridge at 568. We're still thinking after the 4th sometime.
The last I've heard is they're shooting for the 14th of July.
Okay, so
but
mid-July.
that's kind of last I've heard
Understood.
on schedule. But I know their deadline's coming up pretty soon.
And that's a county project, correct? State project.
That's a state
So
ODOT project.
As soon as that gets done, in another couple weeks, this is going to go back to normal. So a lot of this will go back. Everybody will go back to their normal routes.
So even before that construction began, Amazon
When you say Amazon, are you talking about semi-trucks or delivery trucks?
Yes, sir. I'm talking about semi-trucks.
Okay,
I'm talking
thank you.
about actual combination vehicles that are going through there and blowing through that four-way stop, and they're ignoring the speed limit. as best as I can tell.
Mayor.
I will also follow up with the Amazon distribution center here in town and let them know of this issue.
Thank you.
I think if you pull about 10 of them over in a row, they'll quit doing that.
Probably, and also probably get some. You're on a no truck route tickets as well. Would definitely help.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, next we have Lucy Hutchins. Lucy is here to speak about State House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 88.
Good evening. My name is Lucy Hutchins. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to Council. I'm here to share my concerns regarding our State House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 88 and how these bills will impact Findlay. Both bills prohibit legal immigrants from 6 foreign adversary countries from purchasing single-family homes or owning real property for their business if they are not U.S. citizens. The bill does mention about 25 miles with the military camp or critical infrastructure. So we just use 3 factors. It pretty well covers the entire state. We only used electricity, gas, and water, let alone other factors like water facilities and also railroad. And these foreign adversaries, currently there are 6 countries: China, North Korea, Russia, Iran, Cuba, and Venezuela. We know that it usually takes about 10 years for an immigrant to become a citizen. The difference between HB 1 and HB 88 is that HB 88 has a grandfather clause. It requires the owner to sell their homes or business facilities within 2 years of the bill's effective date. The primary sponsor's main reason for these bills is to protect our national security. I'm originally from China. And my husband is a US-born citizen. It took me 6 years to become a citizen, to become a US citizen. We moved to Findlay in 2012. And we love this town very much. It's very friendly and very welcome atmosphere. And we decided to settle down here and expand our family here. Our son was born in Blanchard Valley Hospital in 2014. Up to today, my husband and I, we both still working in Findlay, and we contribute to our city tax and state revenue. Many of my Chinese friends are professors at our University of Findlay and healthcare workers in our Blanchard Valley Hospital, and also corporate employee as I am, restaurant owners and small business owners, and so on. So we're not a threat to our community. Instead, we are an asset to Findlay. House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 88 target people not based on what they've done, but where they come from. They don't make distinctions between hostile governments and law-abiding residents, between national security risks and neighborhood parents like me. Bills with blanket ban on citizens, many of whom live, work, and raise families here, are not smart or effective. We can talk to bad actors without violating the rights of innocent people. In addition, both bills violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968, as these bills discriminate against people based on their national origin. These bills, HB 1 and HB 88, claim to protect our national security, but in reality, they're based on fear, not facts. And they risk legitimizing discrimination against people like me and my family. During the pandemic, I witnessed the human cost of this type of fear-driven thinking. Back in 2021, a friend of mine and I had a meeting with Mayor Christina Moore and shared our concerns and how some of our Asian friends and Asian kids were treated as threats at school or in our community. And Mayor Moore issued a statement for us. Thank you so much for supporting our Asian community here. 4 years later, I'm back here again with a similar concern. Should these bills pass, they will hurt Ohio's reputation as open for business and open to the world. And we know Findlay has this friendship with Japan. Yeah, this is the picture I took yesterday at our Riverside Park. And also we have some foreign industries in Findlay. So this is the picture I took yesterday on my way back from work.
Any questions?
Sorry, is my 4 minutes done?
Yes, it is. Do you have a lot more or a little more? How much
I
do you?
have about 3 more paragraphs.
Okay, I will entertain a motion. Mr. Hellman? Second,
Second.
Mr. DeArmond. All those in favor of allowing her to go past the 4 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it. Okay, should these bills pass, they will hold Ohio's economy as open for business and open to the world. Asia is the second biggest race in Findlay according to 2020 census. We have foreign trade zone in Findlay, Tall Timbers Industrial Park. Should HB 1 and HB 8A pass as written, Ohio companies whose owners are headquartered in certain foreign countries will have either shut down or completely divested their facilities in Ohio. This legislation will pose a direct and indirect impact on employment, economic, and tax revenue and supply chain. The bills do exempt naturalized citizens. However, all Asian people's social well-being will be impacted. When I walk down on the street, most people want to know if I'm a citizen or a green card holder or other type of visa holder. Most people even can't tell if I'm a Chinese or Korean or a Japanese. These bills miss the mark. Modern threats to infrastructure come through cyber attacks, not land ownership. Hackers don't need deeds. They need network access and system weaknesses. Let's secure our digital borders, not discriminate based on citizenship. Moreover, legal immigrants have our background checked before we even enter into the States. We want to keep our friendly and welcoming atmosphere in Findlay. I hope our city council will issue an open letter to request exempts for all legal immigrants. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Questions or comments? Mayor?
I would just share that I am aware of this. I've had a number of Findlay residents reach out concerned with the specific legislation. I understand the intent, but do believe that they have gotten a little off the mark in how they're specifically on residential properties. So I have shared that with Representative Matthews and Senator McCauley, and we'll continue to follow up with them. And Lucy, if you could share, you could email me your written statement. I thought that was really well stated, and I'd be happy to share that with him as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I went to testify on HB 1 and SB 8A twice. I also met with our state representative, Ty Matthews, and yeah, he agreed to withdraw as a co-sponsor for HB 1.
If I could just add, there were a number of people that co-sponsored based off of some verbal communication on what the original intent of the bill was. However, as we know, legislation tends to evolve and is probably a bit broader than many of the co-sponsors realize. So I think that they're revisiting it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Any other new business? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Nobody wants to go? Oh, Mr. Greeno. Second, Mr. Niemeyer. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Any opposed, nay. We are adjourned.